Hello and welcome to our first impressions video brought to you by MMO Play. Today we're taking a look at a turn-based strategy game called Fallen Enchantress. It's kind of a remake of Elemental War of Magic. It's from Stardock. Also, if you're a fan of the Civ series and you played Civ 4 and you ever tried any mods, you might have seen a game called Fall from Heaven 2. It's a mod by a popular guy named Kale. He actually was hired by Stardock, and this is part of what he was working on. It was the reboot of this game, and it's actually kind of got a lot of the same feel to it. It's a very good turn-based strategy, fantasy setting. Also got a bit more focus on your heroes rather than just kind of generic units. So you don't just have your ruler, he's actually your main caster. He's a hero, he can wander around and, well, attack. There's a leveling system in this game. It got a lot of RPG aspects to it with the characters. And you can have a tactical combat, too, in addition to your turn-based strategy. It's got almost an RPG version of XCOM Enemy Unknown feel to it, where you have your base-building turn-based strategy style, and then you also have your units that you can fight to. You can also auto-complete attacks, but that's a little risky, and sometimes you'll just lose guys you don't necessarily need to lose if you were playing by yourself and manually controlling and being smarter about it. This is the start of a game. We're actually going to look through the tutorial instead, because turn-based strategy games often are quite in-depth, so we're going to skip this part and just go back to the tutorial actually. First thing you're going to notice in the tutorial is the fact that if you really have never played any strategy games and you don't know what you're doing, you can actually pull up a video in-game that'll help you out. So you can see I just pulled a video right there showing me how to place my first city. Think about this kind of like settling. You have your settlers from the Civ series. And a lot like all of that, you do have your kind of borders, which we're just looking at that. And over time you can expand it. Buildings will expand it. Not to mention, you don't really need workers to work the fields. You just kind of click on, like if I have a mountain with some iron on, I can just go ahead and click a mine and they'll start building the mine. So you actually don't need workers. It's a lot more focused on buildings and units and a little more tactical, whereas Civ is a little more strategic. Although Civ Endgame is pretty tactical too and a harder difficulty. One thing I have heard is there may or may not be some minor balance issues. Some of the heroes can get really, really strong later in the game, but it's basically the case with all strategy games, especially if you're playing against a computer. It's usually a really good person at these can outthink and outmaneuver an AI, but that's not unique to Elemental. Or Fallen Enchantress. Elemental's their old game. That's the case for most turn-based strategy style games. You can see right there, I pulled up another video just to go ahead and figure out what I'm doing. Looks like we're placed in this little, it looks like fairly small. I don't know if this is the entire map or if it's just Fog of War. This is a tutorial, no, it's just Fog of War. So you really don't see too much. You can actually make it so it shows the individual squares. I think it uses a square system. I'm not sure if it uses hexes. Looks like it's squares for movement. So you can see this is on a grid. It just, I don't have the grid pulled up on my map. You can actually do that by one of the options. This is a world of magic, and you guys can't cast spells, and there are magic nodes all around. It has a lot of the feel of the Fall from Heaven mod that Kale made back in Civ 4. You see, we can build units, we can build buildings, we can increase our borders and deal with our land, we can get magic nodes, we can research new technologies. It's got a lot of depth to this game. I've only managed to play it for about an hour or two, but I've got some friends that have been really, really into it, and they're longtime fans of the Civ series, and they still like this game. So if you haven't had a chance, check it out. It was recently on a Steam sale. Maybe watch around Christmas or any other major sales, you can get it for half off. Also, if you bought Elemental, I heard a rumor that you might have gotten a gift code to get this for free. Stardock was not happy with the release of that game, and this is basically a reboot of the series, so if you bought it, go look at your Stardock account and see if you might be able to get access to this game. I never actually bought Elemental Might and Magic, but I heard it did have some issues. This game seems to have resolved most, if not all of them. And I strongly suggest playing the tutorial if you've never played a turn-based strategy game like before. I actually think it's not a half-bad idea to play through it for at least a few minutes if you have, just to give you a refresher and to see some of the different options in this game. If you like it out, check it out. It's available retail for $40 as of November 2012. I've seen it as low as $20. It's called Fallen Enchantress. If you like the content, stay tuned to more videos for MMO Play. Thanks for watching, and I'm just going to go and zap someone with my mage in a little bit.